It's not frivolous to ask teachers to engage in a journey of self-knowledge. It's not frosting on the cake to ask them to explore who is it that's teaching, who are you, the teacher. It's absolutely core and critical if we want to grow teachers and the practice of teaching and the outcomes of learning for young people. And just think for a moment about the situations in which any one of us has learned the most. I would bet a lot of money that that learning has not come from teachers who hid behind the podium, hid behind a mask, hid behind the power of the grade, hid behind their role of authority. I'll bet a lot of money that most learning in most people's lives comes from teachers who engaged them on some level. Now, the forms of engagement are many and varied and wondrously diverse. Some teachers are very shy and they don't know how to engage you eyeball to eyeball. But they have a passion that engages you with the subject. They're trying to share the richness of the life of their mind with their students. Other teachers have a much more user-friendly way of going about it. But one thing I can guarantee you is that students know when a teacher is being real, and they get involved with that teacher. And students know when a teacher is phoning it in, and students turn off. My favorite story about teaching is about a young woman who was asked to tell about a good or great teacher that she had had. And she said, well, I've had a bunch of them, but I can't possibly tell you about them because they are all so different from one another. But she said, I can tell you about my bad teachers because they're all the same. And the interviewer said, well, what do you mean? And she said, with my bad teachers, their words float somewhere in front of their faces, like the balloon speech in cartoons. And when I heard that, I thought, what a remarkable image of bad teaching. It's an image of the stuff being taught separated from the self who's teaching it. Inauthenticity, unreal. And students know when there is that gap between the selfhood of the teacher and whatever it is they're doing in the room. And because the students are disconnected, since the teacher himself or herself is disconnected, no learning can happen. Learning is about making connections. More than connections, it's about jumping sparks between the poles. And it doesn't happen when a teacher is unplugged.